Hey class. So I did this painting recently and I thought it might be helpful to see the process. Now I know it's color, so I'm just going to turn it black and white, and the process is very similar whether it's color or black and white. So this one started as just a actually traditional pen drawing. So when I scan it, it's all just going to be one layer. It's not going to be tons of layers like some of the other demos, but it'll go a lot faster. So the first thing is figuring out where the light source is, and I just start off by basically drawing in the shadows. And I'm just going to start with the middle ground since this is my main focal area, and basically just draw the opposite of where I think the light's hitting. Get some interesting shadow shapes. Sometimes I'm painting it in. Sometimes I'm using the lasso tool, just whatever's faster. This stage really shouldn't take too long, but you do kind of need to get in there. And because this is all, the shadows are all in one layer, it helps it go a lot faster too. And I'm actually spreading it out so that I have 3 different layers for all my shadows. So I have a foreground shadow group, a middle ground shadow group, and eventually you'll see a background shadow group. So that way I'm painting with all black, but then I'm just adjusting the opacity to adjust the amount of darkness that I want to be able to see. And if the shadows or the objects are close to me, I want them the darkest. And then the middle ground, it'll be a little bit less opacity, and then the background will be even less. So that way you get this kind of feeling that there's a bit of atmospheric perspective happening. And the shadows don't have to be completely accurate. I'm just kind of trying to get the feel for it. And on the plants, I like to use kind of like a leaf shape, as you can see, just to give it kind of a nice rougher edge as opposed to just a perfectly straight edge, because that's not going to read as well for an organic plant. But for the buildings, I usually just use a normal round brush or lasso. Okay, so it looks like I'm adjusting the frame a little bit. I wish I would have left the layer panel up for you guys. Yeah, at this point I'm just kind of starting to paint in the sky. So now that I have the shadows, underneath the shadows, I'm just going to lay in tons and tons of layers for all the various pieces that might be a different tone, or in the actual version, a different color. And that way, once I get it all laid down, I can go back to those layers and then kind of tweak them. Because the time-consuming part is really just going in and building out your layers for each of the shapes, because sometimes it takes a while to get like a nice mat of them. Sometimes you have to use the lasso tool or just carefully paint it in. So that's really the time-consuming part. Adjusting the tones so that they look good doesn't usually take too long. So like the roof is one layer, the brick of the building is one layer, the window seals are one layer. So basically just anything that if you were painting it, you could think of it as a different material color. And I try to kind of group them in a way that makes sense. So like all the layers pertaining to this house are probably going to be in a group, and all the layers pertaining to the tree in the front would probably be in a group, just so that it's easy to navigate back and forth as you go. So let's see, what are we on now? Okay, looks like we're doing the tree now. The organic stuff can be exceptionally annoying to mat in, because there's all these little jagged shapes, and you want to try to encompass them as much as possible. And now we're doing the grass, and you want your layer orders to make sense as well. So like the ground grass is probably going to be in a lower layer than the tree would be. the tree is going to be on top of that, the house will be on top of the grass, just whatever kind of order makes the most sense for blocking it all in. But in general, things that are on top are going to be higher up in the layer order, and then things that are in the background will be further back, just to make it easier. So that way things are, the right thing is in front of the right object. So pretty much the rest of this is just going to be refining some of the shapes, some of the objects that I forgot to make mats for or hadn't made mats for yet, and then also adjusting the colors, or from what you're seeing, it'll look like tones. The reason why I made it black and white is just to make it a little bit more clear, since this isn't really a painting class, and I want to show you that if you can figure out how to get a good tonal background working, it's very similar to having a painting. The only difference you're going to encounter with painting is then you're going to have to start thinking about colors and temperature a little bit. But if the image works in black and white, it's that you're halfway there, or more than halfway there, to making like a cool looking painting. And now we're pretty much done. And just to show, I'll turn it to color, and notice that, the value structure is still all there. It's just color has been added. Great. Well, hopefully that was helpful. Talk to you later.